Hey everyone, welcome to your first daybreak of Hurricane Hangtime. I'm Annaliese Garcia alongside Alejandro Narciso. We're here at the Bank United Center where Coach Larranaga had his last press conference of the season.
Yeah, and Coach Larranaga had a lot of interesting things to say. He always has interesting things to say when he has these press conferences. He talked about Sheldon McClellan possibly going to the NBA, to Kamari Murphy, what he could bring to the table, to Omar Sherman, Cruz Uceda, how they need to develop themselves to be impactful players next year. What really caught your attention out of this press conference?
Well, I think the first thing that actually caught my eye was when he spoke about all these fifth-year seniors. Everybody's questioning, are they coming back? Are they leaving? He specifically mentioned Sheldon McClellan and how they're doing research right now on the opportunities he may have at the NBA.
Yeah, it's always tough for these guys who have great years like Sheldon had to make that decision to come back for another year in college when you could potentially be a first-round pick. And really, I was surprised that Coach Larranaga opened up so much about that he literally asked Sheldon McClellan, listen, if you have the opportunity to be a first-round pick in the NBA, would you go? And Sheldon McClellan, you have to think this is a guy, his entire life as a kid, he grew up wanting to play in the NBA. Now he might have the opportunity to do so. So now they're in that process to determine whether or not he is potentially a first-round pick. I don't think so. I think he still has one more year left, not because I'm a fan of Miami, but because he has all the tools this year to really make an impact, a name for himself, an impact on his team, an impact in the NCAA tournament. You never know. That it might reach the Sweet 16, possibly even the Elite 8, because this team is really stacked this year.
Yes, and including the two players that Coach Larranaga went out and specifically mentioned that they did an amazing job this year. Omar Sherman and Cruz Uceda.
Yep.
They are very strong players, but he says that there's room for potential.
Especially Yvonne. Yeah,
and that they need to spend time in the weight room and really get stronger.
Yeah, Cruz Uceda, we saw that this year what happened to him when he played against Temple. You and I were both there when he played Temple and Stanford. He wasn't able to do anything inside. He was just getting bullied down low. And really, I would have liked to see what he could be able to do if he came in for the entire season. Remember, he came in because of those NCAA transfer rules.
He was starting
exactly.
At the end.
He was starting at the end of the season. So really, I would love to see what he could do with a full offseason here in Miami. Get his strength up, get his post game up, see what he could do. Hopefully he doesn't transfer. In my opinion, I think he's might be one of those guys on that transfer bubble for Miami. I hope he doesn't. I think he could bring a lot of good things for Miami. And Omar Sherman, he's another guy that we didn't really see a lot of post presence there throughout the season. We saw that in that last game against Stanford where Tony Jakiri really put that in his head that he has to be that guy, and he really dominated down low. He had those big rebounds, that huge dunk at the end with the and one. So really, Omar Sherman is going to be a big asset for Miami next year.
And towards the end of the press conference, Ale, you remember how he spoke about the fact that although most of their team is coming back and they're only losing one player, Joe Thomas, that they do have one main goal.
Being good is really not our goal. Being as good as we can be is the goal. And we weren't this year. We were inconsistent. Our goal is going to be to try to play as well as we can on a much more consistent basis.
Yeah, you just saw right now Coach Larranaga. He said the nucleus of this team is coming back. Sheldon McClellan possibly pending on that research for the NBA. Tony Jakiri, Angel Rodriguez, Davon Reed, all these guys are coming back. He wants them to play the best of their ability. Right. And we saw what could happen when they do that, when they beat Duke by 16 points in Cameron Indoor. So really, if they could play at that level consistently throughout the season, and that's going to be the key word, consistency, because they beat Duke and then they lost to Georgia Tech at home. That cannot happen next year, and I do not believe it's going to happen. I think this team is really going to step their game up mentally and physically to a whole other level.
I agree, Ali. I really think it can work out, and we look forward to the season to come. And this was your first edition of Daybreak for Hurricane Hangtime.